Hello everyone, welcome back to the Don Pod for season 2023. Can you believe it? Hello Nathan, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Sam, how are you?
Yeah, good. Got my new mic.
New mic, new setup.
Very excited by my new microphone.
Still on the same couch though.
Still on the same. Yeah, some things
Couldn't afford a new couch.
never change. No, the mic broke the bank. If we're honest. We're here for 2023. We're going to talk about some things tonight, including practice matches. We'll have a look at both Gold Coast and St Kilda. Definitely not our best 2023. We're not going to make a best 23. We're not, we promise.
Should we be picking like on that? Should we have a 23 that we think will play round one because it's Hawthorn, or just the best 23?
I think it's based on round one.
Yeah, okay, cool.
If we go with that.
Yep.
We'll do some socials. We'll talk to you if you're on the Facebook Live in the comments, and then we'll talk about some season expectations, what we want to see, where we want to be in what month is it? March, 6 months time. We'll do some more socials because we're good like that.
Because we hope someone's listening.
We hope there's someone gets in the comments. And then we'll just talk some general AFL predictions, what we think of the rest of the mob. We're certainly not going to be in the sort of grand final contention, are we? So we'll throw some wild predictions out there and look stupid in 6 months' time.
Yep.
Right. So, pre-season. Start with the beginning. It's a good place to start. Gold Coast. We won by 5. It's a bit hard to find data on this. Won by 5 points. We got in front just at the end of the fifth period. And thought, yep, we're in front. That's enough for us. Let's go home. So,
and we did. And we're just at clear.
One of the more bizarre
I think they went
things.
out and had a little practice.
Yeah, they played each other.
Yeah, because they're like, we haven't run enough yet, and we're like, we're pooped.
I had to go on Twitter to work out what the friggin' hell was going on. That's what they said. They're going to play each other. So fair enough. It was a little while ago, and for me, probably hard to read. We were shocking for bits of it, and then we looked pretty good for bits of it. And I have to admit, I didn't watch all of either of the games, so I'm a bit limited on that front. But I'll get your thoughts, and then we'll probably move on pretty quickly to the Saints game because data.
Well, yeah, like the Gold Coast game, I agree, it was up and down. It was patches we saw that were really interesting. In patches, I thought there were a little bit of old habits. There was a period where I thought we were back into our old habits of how we defended and stuff like that. So that was concerning. But there are also, I thought some players, probably Setterfield, looked really good in first time out in our jumper.
Mm-hmm.
And I also was really impressed by a couple of the young players, Davey Jr. and Menzies. But that flowed on, I think, to the St Kilda game, really, where we can actually talk about some numbers.
Yes, we do like numbers.
Well, numbers can either prove that we're wrong or right, or just make it look stupid.
Make us look stupid, yes. So Saints game was 10-7-67 to Saints, and 3 goals 14.
3 goals.
It was
so it was the same scoring shots.
17 apiece. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think again, in the past, and I remember a couple of years ago playing Richmond in Wangaratta, and we got absolutely thumped.
I remember that.
Possibly last year, the year before, getting absolutely pummeled. That's not what you want in preseason, right? I can deal with losing. I can deal with this because although we lost, that's fine. We still showed a little bit in patches that make me just go, okay, maybe we've got some good learnings. Is that the Worsfold thing?
I also think too, just on that, I think in the game, I think there has to be an asterisk next to it because of the conditions. Like,
oh yeah, that was shocking.
So it was blowing a gale to one side, to the left, and I think too, part of that is obviously it's St Kilda's training ground, so they'll deal with that. They train under those conditions. Now I know it gets windy where we train too.
Windy at the airport, yeah.
But it's also, you're just familiar with that, which way the wind blows or how it cuts across you. And you could see we struggled with our positioning to deal with how to deal with that wind because we're either our forwards were too far up or defenders were too far back. A few times And I think we could, when they were bombing long or they had shots from outside 50 that they were getting and we were missing by miles. And
Well, I mean, that's one major thing is our kicking was abysmal.
atrocious.
Pete kicked 1 goal 4, Nick Martin 0-3, Perkins 0-2. Like, I don't think we're going to see that too often.
Even Tip and Woody missed a pretty straightforward. Like, he's a very reliable set shot, and he was about 30 out and missed it.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see it too much during the year for that, but we were a bit like that last year. We had a couple of games where we kicked ourselves out of it. So it might be a bigger issue, but certainly for Pete Wright, who's got possibly the best set shot in the game, top 3 at least, 1 goal 4 is awful.
Yeah.
So, as you said, bit of an asterisk on that. The main thing I took, which was only once or twice, it didn't actually happen too often, but we didn't get that counterattack, that opposition transitioning defense to attack. And when they did, we seemed to be a lot better set up behind the ball.
100%.
To deal with it. So, and that was the one instance I can think of. I think it was actually Setterfield who got back. And I'm fairly certain it was the Saints kicking with the wind in that quarter. So,
that was definitely something we did better. We defended the ground a lot better. We didn't get, like last year, you know how in our early games especially, we were so far up the ground that when they turned over, we were just not there. And no one was ever there. Like, it was 2-on-1s or 3-on-1s. We didn't see that in this game. And I don't think we saw that in the Gold Coast game. I can't remember that as well. But
it wasn't as bad. But if they did get there, if they did go from D50 to attacking 50, we were still way more set up.
But I don't think they scored a goal from the D50 to, like, whereas that was, I think, one of the main ways teams are scoring against us last year. Yeah. Like, so that if that's one thing it can improve and will improve hopefully more throughout the year, then I'm very happy with that. Because that was horrible to watch last year.
Yes, we got cut open. So that's a positive. For the bit I watched of the Saints game, Wright took a few nice pack marks. Obviously kicking.
Built a few too.
Built a few, but he was a bit like that last year, and we still got 52 goals out of him. So
what do you think of the Wright and Wiedemann and then Draper? I guess throw in those and Jones, the 4 or 5 tools that we.
From what I watched across both games, Jones barely touched the footy.
Jones was atrocious.
I don't remember seeing him.
But hopefully better for the run.
Yep. Wiedemann a bit the same. I know he had a few more touches that I saw, but it was a bit higher up the ground, which if that's the plan and that lets Pete stay at home, fine.
I think it's a plan. I did see Wright way up the ground a few times. I don't know if he was goal
maybe they just
kick chasing or just they're still working out each other, what they're doing.
And who's the other one? Wiedemann, Wright. Oh, that was it, the 3, right?
Yeah, well, and how that affect Draper, because, like, obviously I was watching how when Draper went off, because he had a great matchup in their ruckman.
Saints, Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall, who's going to be a great player. And so when he went off, Wiedemann would come on, and that still allowed us to have Jones and or Wright as those marking options, even though I think some of the times we got that wrong because they were too far up the ground, and then the defenders were looking to kick to them and they'd sort of come too far or not far enough. But I like the strategy of that, because one of the problems we had last year was that when Draper would go off and Wright would come into the ruck, it left no one to mark the ball. So when a defender's in the inside 50 looking for someone to kick just to get out of trouble, you've got to have a tall on the wing to mark it, or at least contest it.
So Wiedemann's really the ruck, isn't he now?
Wiedemann, I think, is the backup ruck. If we look at the hit outs, so Draper had 29, Wright had 14, and Wiedemann 5. So that throws that out.
Well, Wright was rucking in the forward line.
Yes, true.
I think Draper.
The CBA show that Wiedemann did 6%. So centre-bounce attendances showed that Wiedemann was at 6%. So he turned up to a couple centre bounces.
Right, 0. So
right, 0. So that means
that all of Wright's rucking was in the forward line.
Yeah.
So that's a good insight to what we'll probably see. Draper.
So you have to play all 3 of them, and I guess then Jones. Look, he was horrible, and I think he was the worst statistic player besides maybe Caldwell, who went off in the first or second quarter.
Be forgiven, yeah.
So I think you have to kind of play. I don't know. It's a tricky one. You need another marking forward. Because that normally might have been Stringer if he was fit.
Yeah. Possibly. We're going to get into the best 20, not best 23. Not at all.
Mm.
Definitely not the best 23.
It's not. It's just ours.
No, because we're never going to get it right.
No.
All right. Anything else really to touch on from that? I think.
Well, I
Result
want to
aside-
mention a couple of things. Setterfield, again, I was
Yes.
really impressed with him.
Yes, good call.
Oh, the other thing too, statistics. So tackling, something we were a bit frustrated with last year.
Very.
Very frustrated. So I believe in this game, I'm guessing, I think I remember that we had 19 inside 50 tackles, and we averaged something like 6 last year.
Yeah. Wow.
And if you look at those tackles, 6 were Jai Menzies. So boom, he stays in the side. If you're going to bring that, you bring that every week. Love that.
He looked really nice.
He looked really nice. So I was very impressed by him. And the other, Tip and Woody, who didn't play a game last year, that's correct. He didn't play any games. He had 3, and Davey Jr. had 3. So there's
can we just gush
12
about
between
David Jr.?
between the 3 of them, and we averaged like 6 last year. So, and none of them played last year. Well, Menzie played 1 game, maybe
1 or 2, wasn't
yeah,
it?
1 or 2. So that's the difference I want to see in the team this year. Is those 3. Tip and Woody probably still, I think, wouldn't hurt a VFL game or 2, just a bit of fitness. But that's what we've got to bring to the table: tackling forward pressure and holding that ball in our forward 50. Because last year we just spat out way too quickly.
Yeah, and that
puts pressure on your defenders.
Well, that helps that transition. So
yeah,
that's good. Can we gush about Davey Jr., please?
Go gush.
Oh my God! Again, I only saw bits. I'll be honest, I didn't get to sit down and watch it all, but there was a passage of play, half forward wing, probably more wing, where he was running, streaming forward, and then went, "Oh shit, I got nothing to kick to." Turned around, dodged a tackle, took his time, found a target. He may have missed the kick because of the wind, but
But there was also another stage where he was down half back or back pocket, I'd nearly say, and took a mark and got involved in the play. And I thought, oh, well, this is good.
He just looks good.
He looks comfortable. He looks skilled.
Composed.
He's got pace to burn. Like, he will run people down on the wing of the MCG when they think they're trotting along, thinking all the world's good.
Round 1 against
he will hunt them down.
Yeah.
So, and what's interesting about that too, like, so I'm talking about Setterfield play well. I think Menzies and Davey and Tip and Woody was okay, but I didn't think he was great. I think he did his Tip and Woody things.
Kicked a nice goal against Gold Coast, might have been, or maybe Saints.
Yeah, a crumbing goal.
Just off the pack, bang goal.
Yep,
that's beautiful.
Yep, but they're 3 players new to the club that look really good.
Yep.
One other thing I will say quickly is that our boy, Rusty,
yeah, okay, yeah,
looked rusty.
Second year blues.
And the concern was, is he now had 12 months in our system that he's got worse?
Backwards. Surely not.
I was thinking that, oh God, is he worse? Because like his preseason games last year were unreal. Like, oh, he's playing.
That's what he got a spot on the list because of those.
Yeah, and then his first game, he 27 touches, 5 goals, and I'm looking at him now, going, oh God,
in his
he looks
defense,
better at least.
In his defense, he can't possibly improve on last year. I'd
not
find
the
it very
attitude.
hard to believe that he'd improve.
30 touches and 6 goals round 1.
No less. Or you dropped. In terms of we're focusing a bit on new players. Pidge, McGrath looked good off halfback, good ball use.
Ridley,
in terms of super coach and fantasy, played very well. Riddles, yep. Why is there no just bloody no disposal count on that website you sent me? Thank you.
Oh yeah, well, we don't care about that.
No. Riddles 27 touches, 107 fantasy. Just same old, really. Setterfield, as you mentioned, McGrath, Merritt, all the usual suspects, really. Kelly had a fair bit of football, which I don't know what to make of that.
I have serious issues with Kelly, and it's a personal thing. I get frustrated with when he gets the ball, he is so slow to make a decision. Like, you watch his brain tick, tick, tick.
Like
and the guys are like, kick it to me. And he's like, gee, that's a pretty good option. I probably should go for Oh, hang on. Someone's rolled over on him. No, don't worry about it now. I'll look for a different spot to kick it. Like, oh God, he's slow of brain. Like,
slow of mind. We got a few of them, to be fair.
Yeah.
Not just him.
Anyway, I thought he just frustrates me.
Yep, that's fair. He did to me too, but last year, but I've given him the benefit of the doubt that we weren't playing him in the right position. So,
and the other thing probably I just mentioned was that I thought our midfield looked really fumbly. Like Parrish and Merritt was okay, but
Okay.
Shield and Parrish, I thought just
Yeah, forgivable early on.
Mm,
I can,
practice game.
you know,
That's
but
what
if
you
we get
said.
to round one and they're fumbly, then I'm going to be
Exactly.
sitting there going, "Well, that was shit, wasn't it?"
Yep.
So can't
What
win.
have they been doing all preseason? Haven't they
Preseason,
touched
yeah.
the ball? And
And you think
that's the concern. You either look at it and go, "Oh, it's a practice game, it's okay," or it's a practice game. Why aren't they better?
there's a
I
fine
don't know.
line. There is a fine line there, and I'm yet to find it. I'm going to jump into socials now because we've had a few comments that I
Oh
just
my
want to
god.
discuss because there's some good things to talk about.
Yep.
I'll read them all out just because I'm nice like that, I guess. Been a while.
Three.
Been a long time
It
since
won't
we've
take
done
long.
this. Let it go. Simon can't get behind Scott, and he asks, "Do I have to?" Yes, you have to. Let's give him a chance. You know,
Yeah, I know.
toe the party line. Just
toe the party line. Yeah,
I got high hopes for him. I think you're a bit less.
I just don't like. I've never liked him as a
No.
coach, and I'm
He's
struggling with
ours now.
that. But
he's ours now, so we got to jump on.
if we get success, I might like him.
A few comments rightfully mentioning Paddy Ryder back at the club. That is amazing news.
Well, it's very interesting as you and I had a brief discussion about it. I
It
was
is
of the
interesting.
view that he didn't like us anymore.
Yes, I was of that view. But for our Indigenous program, and that's his role
100%.
at the club, I can't remember the exact title, but it was to do with that Indigenous side of things. It's great.
Yep.
Graham also says, want to throw a curly question. And I'll limit your response here to maybe a yes or no. And let me finish. Do we trade Parrish at the end of the season to get some hardened up players? I'm going to say big fat no. If I can be quick.
I'll say yes.
Okay, I like it. By the way, I'm very impressed with young Voss. Yes, we didn't talk about Voss.
Oh, yeah, Voss.
He was good, Graham.
Well done, Graham.
That was one of my
Thanks,
highlights.
We got someone.
From the
we
Gold
should have wrote
Coast
down
game.
notes or something.
He looked unreal.
Oh,
he was
massive fan.
Rusty Martin at 23.
And I actually thought he would have played in this game against St Kilda because I thought he's sort of for me, he's a bit of a not the same, but he's a bit of a stringer replacement. He's a big body. He's
courageous.
Got some good skills to be not way up the ground. But anyway, I don't mind him at all.
Yeah, I was really impressed, and like you, surprised he didn't play against St Kilda.
Could still be a sneaky for the round one because he apparently played very, very well in the VFL.
100% sneaky. Probably won't go into the Parrish thing right now. Might save that for the end of the year. I'm
up to the suggestion. I'm
open to the suggestion.
Yeah, I'm open to the suggestion.
Safe, but I don't.
No one's safe at the club at the moment. There's no success. You can't have everyone safe if we're not succeeding. Like that doesn't make sense to me. Like, seriously, Merritt could go. I couldn't care. We're a shit team. We've been a shit team for 20 years. If this group of 24 to 27-year-olds that are at our club, the Parishes, the Merritts, probably not Setterfield, I won't blame him, the Shields, guys, McGrath, they're all been at the club. They've played 100-plus games now.
A long time.
If they don't pull their heads out and start playing decent football, not for just 3 or 4 weeks in a row, but for 22 weeks, then I would say you're on the chopping board, mate. We'll find someone else who wants to put in.
Yep, fair enough. Nath goes whack. There you go. Boom. Lucas, Davey, and Setterfield both good against the Saints. Yes, agree. Computer's just been a pain. Scott, Saints kicked 10 goals. It was windy, but it wasn't a gale. It was our kicking. I was at the game. Yeah, fair enough. We'll work on that. That's okay.
Yep. It looked very windy. The trees were.
Yeah. And you can see the ball in flight just about. Johnny reckons we should put Paddy back in the forward line.
I'd like to see him in the ruck, back up rucksman. He could play a half forward role. He was one of my favourite players. I must admit, I loved Patrick Ryder.
I had the number 30 on my jumper.
Yep, I loved him when he was at the club. Loved him. I loved the way he jumped over everyone and ran fast. He scooped up the ball when he was 6'10". Anyway,
gushing. Johnny and Scott also mentioning Red Dog was good both games. Can't remember seeing him, so I can't comment.
I disagree with that. I thought Red Dog was pretty shit. To be honest, in the St Kilda game, I'd less probably noticed him in the other game. If I have a quick look at his...
What do you want? Stats for the Saints game?
Stats.
10 kicks, 7 handballs, 6 marks, 2 tackles.
This doesn't scream like you've had a great game,
does it? Brilliant. It's not horrible either. That's fair enough.
No, it's... I don't think... Yeah. Anyway, I think he was fine. He just running getting the game through. But I wouldn't. He wasn't the best player.
No. And last comment for now, Gavin. It's going to take a long time, lots of those, to get Rutten's influence out of this squad. So it's going to take patience to sort through all of that crap. Fair enough comment.
I agree.
You can't expect miracles from Scott, even this year, let alone the first month.
I would say somewhere around. My theory would be somewhere around, say, rounds 8 to round 15. We might see some football. That is what we want to see. And then at the back end of it, we might start to wear out, and the front end is still trying to work out how to play it. Yeah. But somewhere in the middle of the year, we should see 4 or 5, 6 games where we go, hey.
That was all right. Let's not jump ahead to the season expectations.
Sorry.
Please. That's okay. That was my fault. I made the comment. All right. What's next? What are we talking about now? It's been a while.
Best not best 23.
Definitely not our best 23. Right.
No.
Nath has sent me a very beautiful...
Shut up.
I'm going to put this on the screen. I'm going to show the people what we're dealing with here.
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
I remember I'm 46, Sam. PowerPoint
that's what it looks like for the people at home. It is
I can't see
a work of absolute art. There you go. That's what we're working with. I'm yet to find anything better, so I'm happy to go with it.
It works for me because I can just drag the little names around and move them around the board, and I go, whee! Like a little magnet board for me.
I'll just give the people at home an idea of what I'm working with. So obviously we're going to call it a not best 23, and that is purely because these are absolute nonsense 99% of the time, and I doubt there's been a person in human history of any AFL side ever who has got the first round 23 or 22 right.
And I don't think, I think there's two. There's a bias. There's our for me, it's my bias. That's who I want to see out there. I'm not in the club. I don't know anyone at the club. We're not affiliated with the club. Obviously. So we don't actually know what's going on.
No. And me and you have pretty similar biases. So we do have a bit of an echo chamber. So if you're sitting there fuming because you think we got one wrong, comment. We'll talk about it. That's 100% what we're here for. So to that, I've asked Nathan to group it in 6. So we're not going to get hung up on who's half forward and who's full back and whatever. We're just going to go back 6, middle 5 with the ruckman. Forward 6, bench, including the sub.
They play on the players that match them, not on a player actually centre back.
And this is on the assumption of round 1. So injuries aside, Sardis, Hobbs, Heppel, Caldwell, all presuming not playing. Stringer. Not through lack of, we don't think they're good enough. It's purely because they're not good.
Langford's an interest. I heard he trained today, but I don't know where he's at either.
Yeah, okay. That'd be interesting.
And obviously, I've also thought about Hawthorn as the opposition. Like, if they've got a lot of tall forwards or short forwards or, defenders and whatnot.
And this is why the show would fall apart without you, because I have not.
I had a thought about it. No, it wasn't.
A thought. All right. Well, I've thought about it now, so that counts, right? Well, I haven't actually done a lot of changes since you sent it to me, to be honest. But I think lock, we'll start from defence because
of course. That's
the boring bit. Absolute lock or lock, sir, is Zerk, Thatcher, McGrath, Ridley, Redmond.
Yep, 100%. I can't. Laverde, McGrath, Ridley, Redmond, and Zerk, Thatcher can't go out of the side.
Well, Laverde is interesting. Could Laverde and Reed be a possible...
This is where we might differ. See, I would say, if you're going to drop anyone, it's going to be Kelly, because I think Laverde can play on talls, whereas Kelly was brought to the club to play on smalls. Then I would argue that's McGrath's job now. So this is, if McGrath's gone back, which he clearly has, he surely puts pressure on Kelly, because you can't have Kelly, who's at about 189 centimeters. McGrath is like 181 or maybe, or not much fucking taller. He's a midget. And then what I assume is Hind, D'Ambrosio, or those sort of, so one of those. So you can't have too many of these shorts. And Kelly, for me, is the one that I think you could replace with a 200 centimeter defender.
Yeah. So you've got Lav.
I've got Lav. Yep.
And who's the second small?
I've got D'Ambrosio on.
D'Ambrosio. Okay. Oh, so that's what you sent me, right?
It's pretty obvious.
Pay attention, Sam. I'll differ slightly. I think, as much as I think Lav's a bloody decent footballer and tough as nails and hard as a rock and all that, I don't think he fits just because of his height. When you got Zerk Thatcher, who came so good towards the end of last season,
Mm-hmm.
and you've also got Reed, who appears to be fit and is playing.
Yep.
I would have him in over Lav, and don't disagree on D'Ambrosio, but I think realistically it'll be Hind.
So I disagree there because Hind did not play. He played like 20% of the game against St Kilda. And I think my theory here is that Essendon prefer the kicking skills,
D'Ambrosio,
than the runnings, if that's a skill, of Hind. Because if you look at the other stat that came out of the game from St Kilda is that so last year we handballed way too much. There was too much handballing. Already in the first 2 games, we've moved towards more a kicking team. So you have to be really good at kicking if you're obviously going to play the kicking game. Stupid statement, clearly.
Fair enough.
But you're going to pick D'Ambrosio over Hind for that because if he's that foot by foot, he's a weapon. He splits teams.
Yep.
That's
fair enough. And this is probably maybe a little bit of a remnant of Truck in that we seem to pick the same guys regardless of their form and all that. So
100%. So
this is good.
Hind didn't make my team at all.
I wouldn't have him in if it was like if I was picking a team myself.
Yep.
He's not in it.
And it partly goes back to the fact that I don't think you can play Hind, McGrath, Redmond, and Kelly. Hind, McGrath, Kelly. There's 4 players there, all under 190 centimeters, defenders.
Which is
why if we play teams that have got tall forwards, which a few of them do now, they're all useless.
Particularly against Hawthorn, who are so young, it's probably a really good game for Reed.
Well, it's a great 100%. I would look if Reed and Cox are fit. I would have them as 2 tall forwards. I would Zerk Thatcher's not 100% for me. He's got to play as well as he did last year. Again, he can't now just, no offense, but the year before he was pretty shit. Like if we see a bit of that bad form come out of him again, he's out.
Yeah, but I think he was pretty good against St Kilda. He was very good at the end of last year. So he's in.
100% he's in. But his spot is not.
It's not as solid. No.
Not as solid as, say, McGrath and Ridley for me and Redmond. Like they're the untouchable 3 defenders.
So we're in agreement on Zerk Thatcher, McGrath, Ridley, Redmond.
Yep.
And D'Ambrosio. I'll go with on that. Hind is more, I think that's what they'll go with more than I think he should play. And you're having Laverde over Reed.
Well, I'm playing Laverde because I think Laverde has been a great player for us for 2 years. As I said, Kelly's the one that would be out, and I would replace with Reed if Reed's fit. So I don't know how fit Reed is.
Well, that's an assumption I'm making that he is.
If Reed's fit, then it's Reed over Kelly. So Reed's on the bench.
Okay, we'll get to the bench. Don't confuse things.
Well,
that's not a bad shout.
My theory there. So I've got 6 defenders on the field and then 1 defender on the bench. So I think the team, if you looked at it consistently, we usually pick 6 forwards, 1 on the bench, 1 forward on the bench, 6 defenders, 1 on the bench, and then either 2 extra midfielders or maybe a ruckman, depending on what we're dealing with.
Yeah, which that'll be interesting in itself. Midfield 3, so just your centerman and the wings.
So I've gone again just on the field. I've gone Shield in the middle, and then Durham and Martin on the wings.
Yeah, I agree entirely. I question mark over Langford if he's fit, but I'll probably chuck him on the bench if he is more so than.
He might make a good sub.
Yeah, okay.
If he's 90%, because he can play a few roles.
Yeah.
He can play forward, midfield. Probably could go defense if you had to push him.
Okay, well, that was boring. We agreed.
Well, I think, look, to be honest, if everyone's fit, then I would have Sardis over Durham.
Well, how far off is he? It was pretty serious.
He got out of the moon boot today, so
nice. Okay.
Probably next week. If he's got the healing powers of what's his name, Sam Walsh, who apparently might play round 1 or 2. Like I'm going, God bloody hell, is he touched by God?
That's a PR stunt. They're trying to put the shit up.
I don't know. Anyway, to be honest, I think the problem with that, Sam, is that we don't have many other options. For me, Setterfield and Shield would be like Setterfield's my other midfielder that playing that role. So him and Shield are swapping.
Yeah.
And he's on the bench.
A forward line.
Forward 6. Who's locked in?
Forward 6. Right.
100% locked.
Right is genuine no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. No point.
No bueno. I think Wiedemann as well. I think he's brought in for that second ruck duty. So I think that was a pretty deliberate.
I think he has to play because of his role. Yes, I agree.
Perko. I've got Perko at half forward as well.
100%.
he'll fit somewhere. So we'll just have him.
Well, he
there.
has to play. He's a young player we need to continue to get games into.
And Davey Jr. I don't think Davey Jr. is a lock, but
I think he's a lock.
in there.
I think he's a lock because of what he brings, the tackling, and him and Menzies are my other two. So Menzies a lock for me. 6 tackles in a practice game, and
he looked in front of goal. Yeah.
He kicked a few in the Gold Coast game.
Yep.
He's a threat. He's a genuine. He will step in front of Guelphy and Snelling really quickly.
Okay. I'll have Menzies in there as well. I'm a bit iffy about that one, but I'll have him. The only player I've taken out of yours was Jones. I don't think we'll play 3 tools like that.
That's fair enough.
Which is a bit iffy because it's quite small then, but Guelphy I've got in there instead.
Fair enough.
Just as the ever-safe utility. It could easily be Langford if he's fit.
Yeah. I like Langford too. For my other one, it could be Voss.
Voss, yeah. Yeah, I was going to say.
What about Tip and Woody? So did he make your team?
Yeah, bench. I've got him.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Which we'll get to. Followers, I don't think there'll be any arguments. Draper Parish Merit.
Yeah. If there's someone else in there, then
the
only one that gets to, especially with Caldwell. Oh, I've still got Caldwell on my bench, actually. He's out. Well, I'm assuming he will be out.
Yeah, he will.
Setterfield looks like he'll get a lot of midfield time. As I said, I think in the previous game he had 47% centre bounce attendance. So he was, nearly 50% he was there at centre bounces. So that means he's got a pretty strong midfield role.
Yep. You bench, I guess. So I've got Setterfield, McDonald, Tip and Woody. And I chuck Laverde on there because that was a good shout for me before that probably need a defensive player on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 4th spot could be
challenge.
any one of a number. Yeah. I've got Snelling and Langford. Snelling hasn't been horrible.
Yep. I don't mind any of them.
I think if Langford's fit, he plays, period.
I think Guelphy might be injured too. That might be an issue about your team.
Shit. Why wasn't he in the injured column?
Sorry, I forgot.
It's your fault.
It's fair enough. I do remember him doing a hamstring a few weeks ago that I don't know if he got back to full training.
And this is why we claim to know nothing.
Yeah.
What's your bench? Sorry, I forget.
Oh, well, I've gone Setterfield as that midfield, extra midfielder with Langford if he's fit, because I think he can, as we talked about, can play a bunch of roles. He can go half forward, he can go midfield, and go wing, can do a fair bit.
Yeah.
And then Setterfield, Reid, as I said, as the backup defender, and Davey Jr. had on the bench with Menzies on the field because I think he's just been brilliant.
Okay. Fairly straightforward. A sub. I have got, this is edgy, so edgy, Voss.
Yeah, I love it.
It's not edgy at all.
I had him on the field.
I don't think there's a lot of other players that really fit the sub mold. Like, you don't have a key or a tall because, no, that's not what you want. Could go a Wanganeen, but he's pretty one-dimensional in terms of what he offers.
Well, you could go a Cox because depending on his
Cox
fitness,
is pretty versatile.
Because I don't know how fit he is, but you might not want to play him for half a game if he's got injuries. I don't know his situation, but he's a guy who can play half forward, full forward, wing, ruck, whatever,
Well, based on the very little we saw of Voss, if we lost a small defender, all right, he might be able to do it. If we lost a midfielder, all right, he might be able to do it. If we lost a forward, that's generally where he plays. So
100%.
It kind of works for me.
I had Tip and Woody.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Because I mean, if he came on in the third quarter, say in perfect world, no one's injured, but he just comes on to replace, I don't know, someone maybe Langford breaks down.
Great input.
Yeah. Then he would come on. If he came on for half a game, he could have real influence.
Yeah, 100%. He's dangerous.
But
that's what you want. You want a bit of a line between weapon, dangerous, and versatile.
It's as we've talked about. It's tough to pick because we don't know, who's super fit and who's carrying stuff. And you want to pick 23 fit guys. Like in the end, and you don't want to have carrying injuries in round one.
Guelphy is a prime candidate for sub 2 for the same reason.
True.
So
Snelling less so, maybe?
Snelling, no. He's a bit one-dimensional as well.
Well, he can play at least in the midfield and forward, but defending, no.
No. Well, you're not going to get a player that can play anywhere.
No, unless we keep... we got rid of him. What's his name? Came from Brisbane?
Cutler.
Cutler, he
He's
could
a
do it
great
all.
sub. Yeah, that's fair.
It was a
enough.
good
There's a
sub.
strange delisting in my books. Anyway, right. Well, I'm going to close that horrendous PowerPoint.
Beautiful PowerPoint.
It's gorgeous. Like you. A few more comments from that. Not a lot actually, which is surprising. One comment. There you go. Not many at all.
Maybe everyone just agreed. Went, oh, these
We're
guys
so good.
on it.
Yeah. Don't tell us if we're not, because you'll make me sad. Hein is getting on in age. D'Ambrosio should play. Let him develop. Fair enough.
Yeah. Agree. How old is Hein? Great question.
Let's
Sam?
do some quick Googling. Hein, Ibby? I'm not going to guess. I'm always so wrong.
28.
Is that your guess, or are you telling me?
Yep, that's my guess. No,
Oh, you cheated. He's 28. Bullshit.
No, swear. I can't type that fast. You know that.
It's true. It wouldn't have been Hind age. It would have been Hund Ug.
Yeah.
As opposed to Mass, who's 19. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And
I don't think Hind's the way forward. But if you want,
no, and as I said, I think Hind. It's just D'Ambrosio's kicking that you want that because.
Dangerous.
Like our style should be to take marks in the back line, get the ball back, and then move it by foot forward. Like not run and carry, because
we have a little bit, but certainly not over handballing that we're so guilty.
Not
of.
everyone then gets dragged up the ground and then the ball gets turned over by a bad kick and poo comes out.
Thanks for that. You threw me off completely. So we're going to have a chat about season expectations now, and then we're going to talk giveaway.
Oh, giveaways.
So,
we didn't mention that early. If people will stay
no,
there.
I really should have, shouldn't I? It's kind of the whole reason why we do giveaways. But anyway, we'll learn.
Selling point, Sam.
I've only been doing it 2 years now. Happy anniversary, by the way, 2 years.
Nearly. I didn't get you anything.
No, neither.
Oh God, it's my wife's anniversary. It's our anniversary in 2 days. I better remember.
Happy anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Nathan.
15 years.
Jesus. Digress. Anyway,
sorry.
So yeah, we'll talk about. That's fine. It's cute. It's nice. We'll talk about season expectations. Then we'll have a look at giveaways. So
there we go.
Stick around for some giveaways.
It's like we should have cut to an ad then.
It's definitely going. Yeah, definitely going in the title on YouTube because I forgot to mention it off the top. Expectations. Now I'm going to start with something, and then we'll talk about our own expectations. Jordan Lewis. Normally about this time of year, some guys come out. It's
like a Mick Malthouse moment.
Some journalists come out and say, "Yeah, Essendon can make the 8." Normally it's David King. Pretty sure David King said we'd win the flag 2 years ago.
I thought that was Malthouse, wasn't it? It said it.
No, definitely King. I'm not sure about Malthouse. I mean, both off the fucking rails. Anyway, Jordan Lewis has said we can make finals. Now, normally I would just go for whatever champ, but he was part of the review, so. He's been heavily in the club, and I guess there's a tiny fraction bit more weight behind what he says as opposed to maybe some others. I disagree, but it's worth the mention. Any thoughts on that?
I do agree with the point that you're making, that he's been inside the club because he was involved in the coach selection.
And the review. The whole review.
The review. Yeah, part of that process. So he's got a good understanding of the club. I can understand why people think we're going to be better, because maybe when you've been internally and seen the issues that we had with under Truck, like, oh God, how were they doing that? Or, oh my God, they were miles off there. You know, maybe he's going, well, they're going to have some improvement because you've got to improve from that rubbish. Like maybe that's, he's like, oh, there's just going to be natural improvement there. Like they'll be able to run out a game and they'll be able to defend. Just a couple of things like that. So,
yeah,
I do think it's interesting because, as you say, he should know the club. He's not just, well, I've watched them play a game. They look really good.
And that was the thing. And that was the first thing I did. I was like, oh, piss off. We don't need this expectation. And then I think it was you that said, well, he would know.
Yeah.
Which
I don't necessarily think, I don't know. I have no idea how we'll go.
We'll look at the general AFL predictions later, but you could fit 12 teams into the 8, and we're not one of them still for me.
100%. So we're not anywhere near it. I watched, as we talked about, I watched all the games from the weekend.
We'll get there,
we're nowhere near some of the good teams. Like we are so far off them,
which is okay.
Of course it is. It's expected.
we're not. I'm not. I won't speak for everyone else. I'm not expecting great things. If we finish 10th, 12th, and actually play some consistent football, get some, and then the main issue was that transition. Get that sort of covered. Get some structure. Get some defensive ability. No disrespect. I'll be happy. Win 10 games. Happy days.
If we can get our team defending numbers down from whatever they were last year, which were abysmal.
Abysmal, yeah, good word.
Then if we can get that down and we can put more pressure on and score a few more goals from, again, tackles and stuff in the midfield, then, and we can carry on our pretty decent centre clearances and stuff like that. We were quite good at that last year. There wasn't a problem there. And that natural improvement of Draper and those sort of guys, I don't Shields shouldn't improve, but should be just as good.
Be better than what he was last year, yeah.
Well, he was pretty good in patches. I think he was leading clearance or
he's top leading centre clearance.
So if he's in that top three again, if Parrish pulls his finger out and plays sort of footy we know he can, Merritt's going to want to lead because he's now the new captain. We should have made some mention of that. So I think, yeah, there's improvement. But if those guys don't, and it's left to the young kids like the Perkins and the Reeds and the Coxes, and then I'll be really upset.
Well, I think that's the obvious places where we can improve is that on-field leadership. Players like Shield, and we shouldn't bash Shield too much pre-season, but he was abysmal. He was typical of the club, really.
But he's one of the 28-year-olds that has to, like, he's paid a lot of money. Not that he's paid a lot of money, but he has to start to play good footy consistently.
He is paid a lot of money, and he's paid a lot of money to do a job, and he hasn't been doing that job. So that's fair enough. The
same with Parrish, and I think Merritt's been very good over his career. I can't bash him, very hard to bash him, but Parrish, if he's fit, he needs to get back to that clearance.
To that player that nearly won the Brownlow.
Well, just even the guy that can get, 25 to 30 touches, a heap of clearances, defend the ball, tackle. He needs. The other thing, when you look at the stats of our players, our midfielders just don't tackle enough. They just need to find a way to tackle more.
Essentially what we're saying, which is beautifully generic.
Oh. We're going somewhere.
We just want to see a bit of improvement across the board.
Well,
so follow-up question, would there be a club realistically sitting there going, yeah, we think we might get a bit worse, but it's okay?
Good point. Because, North Melbourne, no. You're right. And
Hawthorn,
we wouldn't
I reckon Hawthorn.
I think there's going to be, like, if you clubs that have got new coaches, like St Kilda, North Melbourne and us, that's about it, I think.
Yep.
There's always a little bit of, time it'll take to learn the new coach's ways and new styles and lose, as someone said, to, forget about trucks, what truckers taught us and how they'll fall back into that way under pressure. Like when teams are really coming at us, we'll shit our poo-poo pants and we'll, do those things again. Because until you get confident and know that a system works, then you're going to be scared or not.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that's right. That's human nature. And that's the kind of progression we want to see throughout the year is we might do that a bit early doors. And then as the season goes on, we might do it a bit less. And then by the end of the year, we might see some decent football that 2024, we go, hey.
What do you think is the number of games acceptable when you have a look at the fact that I think we play first 3 or 4. So we've got Hawthorn, St Kilda, Gold Coast.
Gold Coast, yeah, that's the first 3.
Yep, and then we might play a Melbourne or something like that. Someone a bit.
Yeah, it's that magic round, but not magic round, gather round. Is it 23 game season? Because there's a 24
round.
An
extra one.
So it is the extra game.
Yep.
So certainly not expecting us to
it's Giants, then Melbourne.
Giants, yeah, okay. Look, realistically, we could be 4. That's 4 winnable games. Maybe less so St Kilda. I think they're still a bit ahead.
Suns didn't look good in the preseason without 2.
Could be a little bit ahead, still a lot ahead actually. So
that's
maybe
played
2
here
and
though.
2. Yeah, I'll expect to beat Hawthorn, which expectation is a dangerous thing.
Yeah, so if we lose to Hawthorn by 30 points, what happens to your head?
Crying. Membership in the microwave, round 1.
Love it. I'll be frustrated if we lose to Hawthorn because I don't even see them winning a game with the team that.
And that's what I mean.
They've got a bunch of nobodies. And no offense, they've got some pretty talented young kids, but
they're kids.
Warple and Jai, what's his name? Jai, can't think of his last name. He's come out of the VFL a couple of years ago, and he's going to be their number 1 midfielder. Jai.
Yep, I know the guy.
Yep.
We all know who you mean.
Warple's had a couple of horrendous years. And their best player in the preseason was the young kid that they drafted at pick 6, Mackenzie. Like, he looked really good.
Joe Newcomb.
If you look at the centre bouncers, he's their number 1 centre bouncer tender. So that's a very young, like, compared to what I think should be Parish, Merritt, Shield. I know they're not the greatest players in the world, but they should be able to sort them out.
You'd hope so. And Ruckman, who's their Ruckman these days?
Reese and Meek, came from Fremo, and Reese played last year. Big talk, very like 212, so huge kid,
big boy. But still, no McAvoy, no big body.
No.
Ruckman. Right. Hey, Alfie's back. Hey, Alfie. Sorry. In terms of number of wins, 23 games, I'd be quite happy with 9-10. Like,
yep.
We're not making finals on that. That's fine. That's an improvement on last year. Fine.
Get a good draft pick.
Just be more consistent. That's
defend better.
Defend better, and lose to the top 4 sides. Whatever. There's no point in beating a top 4 side, which we tend to do, and then lose to second last. Not
lose by 60 odd points in the first round and 60 points in the last round. Maybe
don't burst our bubble too much too soon.
Yeah, try and lose to good teams by 30 or 40 points and be really close with teams we're right around the mark with.
If we're playing Melbourne, Richmond, Geelong, and we lose by 35 points, all right.
Yeah.
On the chin, that's fine.
But if we're taking
40-point
losses to Gold Coast or North Melbourne, I'm like, fuck me, that's horrible.
Don't even speak that into existence.
Yeah, but if that happened, like, that's when I'm like, well, something's not right. Like, and at what point, here's the other side. If we end up at the end of the year and we're rubbish, at what point do you say, well, it's not the coach anymore? Can't be the coach. We've had 3 coaches that.
Well, there was a conversation for that last year, and last season. I think then you look at the rumours, and they were just rumours last year that the players didn't want to play Truck's style. And I don't like that on the face of it.
Yep.
Then that probably gets brought up again, and he's talked about a bit more. I don't think as professional footballers you can do that. I'd be surprised if
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, and I'd be very surprised if Brad Scott puts up with that. I think he'd be like
the guy that will.
Righto, champ, have fun playing the VFL. And that's fine.
Not like Truck, who sends Shield back to the VFL and then, actually, you can come on and play now. I've taught you your lesson.
Dear. All right. Is it giveaway time?
Sorry?
Is it giveaway time?
Yeah. Boom.
Now,
you want some music?
Nah. Get copyrighted.
Air guitar.
Yeah. Beauty. Now, this is going to be fun. All right. And I want to say, first and foremost, I'm entirely grateful to the football club for giving us free stuff to give away.
We love the Essendon Football Club and what they do.
They gave us a signed football last year, and they've given us some more stuff this year. It is obviously they don't have to do any of that, and we truly, truly appreciate it. However, this is hilarious. All right,
but
so bear with me.
This is a bit like, when somebody is sitting around and goes, "I'm not racist," but
whoa,
and you go, "Oh God,
calm down. Let's not do that." I'm just going to have to turn off my background for a minute because oh God,
we get to see. What about the couch? Oh, it's so boring in the back there,
yeah.
Sam.
But you'll be able to see, right? So, first of all, it comes in a nice little bag,
which
is
pretty.
Actually really nice. That's probably the highlight, if I'm honest. Again, really appreciate the club. Let me just see.
It's only downhill from here, people.
Let me just see which one this is first, and then we'll talk. Let's not go that one first. All right, hang on. Should have been more prepared.
He's building this up. This will be exciting.
Shit. Same bag. Not.
Oh God, he's just knocking things down. It's all turning pear-shaped for poor old Sammy.
Another bag. Right.
So the 2 separate bags.
Two separate bags, and they are really cool bags. Like I'd be really happy.
Inside the bags
they are youth large,
which is obviously not going to fit us. As number 6
signed, and with a nice J at the start.
Now number 6 is that's
Jai Caldwell. Right? Jai Caldwell. Now, you can probably see where I'm going here. So, I had a look at the tag on them, and it says, I don't know if it'll focus.
Oh,
you'll have to believe me. 2020 replica home Guernsey, right? Guernsey.
Guernsey?
I thought, yeah, shut up. And I thought,
2020.
Interesting. 2020. We still had Joe in 2020, didn't we?
We didn't have Joe Cole.
Now, if you forgive me, because I just exit stage right for a moment.
We really haven't planned this well. I'll just fill. So.
It's okay. It was right there. Oh, shit. It was right there. Now.
Oh,
remember Joe? Remember Joe? We remember
Joe. Remember Joe.
Yeah, there's a nice little signature there. Yep. By the way, no idea what to do with that. If you want it, let me know, because I don't really care. Let's look at that signature again. That is the signature of Joe Danaher.
So what we're telling you is they've sent us a 2020 jumper of Joe Danaher, who no longer is obviously at the club.
No longer plays for the Essendon Football Club, and he's a bit polarising, if you ask me.
A lot of people don't like him, and understandably.
Now, you can probably see where this is going with the second jumper. Now, the problem with the first one was it was Joe, Jai. It was confusing for a period of time.
Because we're trying to work out how that Danaher was called, but I kind of see it. Yeah, it's there. Whereas this one...
I didn't even second guess it until I really thought about 2020. I went, oh, this one is number 11. And yeah. I can't read that as... Oh, shoot.
That's right. No, that's fine.
As Will
Snelling is obviously our number.
Looks like Dobby, if you ask me.
Yeah, but it does look like Dobby.
Number 11 is Will Snelling. Wasn't in 2020, was it? David Zaharakis. I still can't see David Zaharakis in that.
I can't either.
I've got no idea.
We should probably Google his signature or something online.
I tried. I didn't find anything. It literally says D Dobby.
So was there a VFL player at the time?
If anyone knows whose that signature is, maybe that can be the competition. If you get the signature right,
guess the signature. Zaharakis himself. Yeah, it's mine. You can get the jumper.
You can have it. You can have it. You can wear it on Survivor or whatever friggin' show he was on.
So from this, we'll be giving away 2 jumpers with lovely bags.
Yeah, and if you win the Joe one, you can probably have the friggin' photo. To be honest, it's not.
Sam, I don't know if you want to give that up. That seems harsh.
It's been sitting collecting dust because I don't know what to do with it.
Anyway, we've got to work out. One of the thoughts we had was that the biggest loser at the club, like whoever we think's had the worst year, and we vote on them throughout the year. Like, you give it 3, 2, 1, and then you give one vote to who just had a shocking game. And at the end of the year, when we work out who that is, if people can guess, then they get a chance to win the jumpers because their guys are no longer at the clubs.
Yeah, that is one thought. There's a number of ways we can do it, but I think we have to accept that it's probably not great giveaways. In terms of last year, it was a signed football signed by the whole football club, and that's a great giveaway. This is a great giveaway in a completely different way. It's a bit of a joke.
The thing is, you could give it to your son, and he could still wear it while he goes to a footy game.
Or daughter.
Or daughter, of course.
Because we're inclusive at the Don Pod. Nathan's a boomer. I'm not. That's, we'll get there. You're not even a boomer, I don't think.
No.
What we're going to do is we're going to throw it open to the listeners. Whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, you can't comment on Spotify or Apple, obviously. Jump on YouTube or Facebook.
I don't know that.
And comment. What do you think? What do you think we should do? I'm happy to give it away if someone's got a kid and they just want to wear an Essendon jumper. Like, that's totally fine. But it is quite humorous that they've stitched us up.
We still love the Essendon Football Club too, just let everyone know.
Absolutely, and I'm so grateful. And I didn't even.
But next time we might mention in the email if we can get a recent or a current player.
It is. I mean, as grateful as I am, it is a bit of a stitch up, isn't it?
Maybe next time we'll buy the jumper, send it in.
And, well, that was the suggestion. They said, we can give you some jumpers and you can come to the training session and get them signed. And I'm like, well, bro, I live 3.5, 4 hours away. So do you. I can't just pop down on a Friday and get some ciggies.
But I would really like to go to a training thing. That's something we should do. We do a live podcast from the training.
Well, a bit like our competition friends at the other one. What are they called?
Oh, yeah, I know. You're talking about, let's not mention the name.
Who is it? What do they call the lunchtime catch up?
That seems right. Yep.
I'm sorry, guys, if you're listening. I'm not trying to be a dick.
He's not
quite envious of you being at the football club and being able to do your podcast. That's fantastic. Anyway,
is that better?
Give us a comment. Let us know. I do have a signed Jake Stringer jumper.
No.
Let me finish, please. That I'm happy to give away at the end of the year on the condition, it's conditional because I'm not sure if I want to give it away yet, that we get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube.
Whoa, we're safe.
We are safe. Yep.
Safe, that's not happening.
Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and we'll...
You can have mine. Mine's framed as well.
Yours, no, you like... Oh, I can't decide what I want to do with mine is the biggest issue.
Mine's on the wall.
Alfie's asked me to hold up Dobby.
Dobby?
Now would be a great time for my Dobby impression. I don't think it...
now, this for all the people who are just listening on a podcast without a video feed. Oh, Sam.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Sorry to those. You just have to trust us.
Just for those people listening and not having any video, Sam is holding up a football jumper with bad signatures on it, just so we all know what's going on.
All right.
And this one looks like it's got number 11, and then it's got Go Daddy on it.
Or Go Dobby if you...
Dobby, possibly.
Is that all right,
It does
Alfie?
look like Dobby. There's no Zaharakis in that. Like, I don't...
There's no Zaharakis. And there's no
Snelling. Who was number... Did we miss someone?
Did either of them have a nickname?
Did we miss someone who was number 11? Like, it was Zaharakis. There was a year when maybe Snelling didn't have it and it was someone else?
Oh, can we...
Maybe we just haven't researched this at all properly and it'll pop up and go, oh, that's such and such.
No one's commented it, which is good. Alfie's followed up. Can you hold it up again with WTF? That's... Yeah, that one. So in 2020, number 11 was David Zaharakis.
2021?
And
he had it for the whole time he was there, wasn't it? That was his number.
Pretty
maybe
much
first year, I don't remember, but
from the get-go,
yeah.
Number 2021, it was Zaharakis.
No, so he left in 21.
Yeah, 2019, just in case it was the start. Well, it would have been Zaharakis.
It would have been Zaharakis. No difference there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so no idea. If you know,
idea.
let us know.
Back to the don't knows.
And if you are listening to it on Spotify or the other one, Apple, we
apologize.
55 minutes in, you'll get the video. It's been a while. Okay, we're rusty. Maybe it was one of the Maybe it was one of the gamers' numbers.
Oh,
I don't know what you mean.
What year did we? No, that was in 16.
Oh, the game, like, is in our EA. Not EA. Esports.
Oh no, that'd be worse. The game, I don't know what he's talking about. Well, it wouldn't be like
they wouldn't have had numbers.
We didn't have women then, did we? There was no women's league.
We don't have VFL women's.
Okay, could it be them? Could it be the game as he's talking about?
Esports one, possibly.
What about
they have numbers though? I don't think
the wheelchair team.
Yeah, it could be wheelchair. I don't think the esports guys would have numbers on their jumper. I don't think.
And they wouldn't sign an Essendon jumper. They didn't wear Essendon jumpers. They wore like long.
They had their own
t-shirts.
Sort of.
I can't imagine gamers wearing a footy jumper.
No, but we're not going to cast chairs.
Oh, I'm casting.
Okay, that's fine. I'm a gamer. If you come at me, it's fine.
You don't even like wearing a footy jumper to the footy, like.
No, that's yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure you're not going to wear one gaming.
The girls aren't a bad shout because we would have had the VFL women's then. And possibly the wheelchair team, who were quite successful, I believe.
Yeah, they were very good.
But anyway, it seems a bit niche. It seems a bit odd that that's what they would give us. That's all. Let's move on. There you go. Give away 1,000 subs on YouTube, and I'll give away my signed stringer jumper. General AFL predictions. That's all we've got to talk about now. So I'll just throw a few questions at you. I think that's all we need to do. Premiership.
Well, just going on watching, I think I watched all the games on the weekend. Melbourne look awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Bulldogs looked really good with their 4 talls with Ugelhagen, what's his name? Sam, the father
Darcy.
of Darcy, the headband guy.
Norton,
thanks. And with Lob in the team, backing up English in the ruck, Spicano.
English.
Spicano.
Wasn't aware that the Don Pod needed a friggin' interpreter.
That speaking of English. So they look really strong, like tall. Like watching them, I thought, geez, how we can't play Laverde, Zerk Thatcher, and Ridley. Like our guys are midgets compared to their forwards. They're all very good tall marking, like option. Like, they take pack marks, all those guys. So there's a real challenge. And the other one I thought was Brisbane. Like Dunkley is just How the Bulldogs didn't play him full-time midfield, like I just go, oh, I don't know. You've lost a player there because he looks nearly Brownlow sort of player. With him and Neil and obviously McCluggage, that other guy, and their young kid, what's his name?
Ashcroft.
Ashcroft. Oh. But they're going to destroy teams on the inside of the midfield because those guys can all go and get the ball and use it very, very well. And then kick again to tall forwards that they've got a few of that are going to hurt some teams too. Defense is still a bit of their weakness, but I don't think the ball will be down there much.
If I can refer to my previous question, who's winning the premiership?
I don't know. I'm saying that I think that those three teams, depending on
leaving you.
Well, if I was to throw one out there, I'll go Brisbane.
Thank you. My first prediction was Richmond. Yeah, bit gross. After preseason, Melbourne.
Fair enough. Well, did you watch the Richmond game? They just looked atrocious.
Saw snippets, yeah. And Grundy gone, that's amazing.
Which again,
Brisbane are a good shout still for all the reasons you just mentioned. But yeah, I'm going the D's.
So to talk quickly about the D's, how does Essendon go up against Grundy Gawn? Like Draper will be rucking by himself. And
I think that's possibly the game you play Phillips as well.
Well, that's right. Do you drop Wiedemann or Jones or something like that, and have
just
to
play them both? You can play Wiedemann and Phillips.
Yep, because like I watched that and I'm like, God, because Grundy Gawn can be against their number one, right? Like he was up against what's his name? Nace. No, what's their ruckman? Buddy Naismith. The Richmond Nankervis, who's a very good ruckman. And so when he went off, Grundy came on to challenge up their second ruckman, and you're like, well, you've just nearly upgraded ruckmans. Like, and you look at a lot of teams' second ruckman, and they will destroy teams in that midfield. Like if Grundy's the second ruckman, he's tapping down to Oliver and Petrarca and those guys, Viney. Yeah, where are we at?
Yep. Brownlow.
Brownlow. As I said, I think Dunkley's a very good shot. Bontempelli looked unreal for the doggies. If he's fit, which they all reports are, he's had a really good preseason. He was carrying a few injuries last year. I hate one of the more frustrating things.
It's the time of year for that sort of comment.
But it's one of the more frustrating things as a fantasy person that you hear the year after that these guys were carrying injuries. Like, why can't they report it during the year that they're carrying all these things? And that's why they're struggling to get through games.
Well, not all of us are hung up.
Bontempelli and Dunkley, I think, are really good shouts.
Just pick one. Put your proverbials on.
I'll go Bontempelli because the umpires love him, but Dunkley will be right on his tail.
Right, I'm going to go with a bit of an out there one because I like to keep it interesting because they took Miller.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan.
Mine instead is the hamstring injury he's carrying at the moment.
Yeah, well, maybe, but I'm a big fan of Took. So
great player, 100%.
Coleman, and you can say Peter Wright.
No, I won't say Peter Wright. I think there's
boring.
I would. Gee, that's a good one. Probably
Hawkins or Cameron again?
No, I think they're. I'm going to call it, and I call it every year. Geelong are on the slide.
Yeah, I've accepted.
Teams will run past them with pace.
Okay.
I will probably go. What's his name from Carlton? Mackay.
Yep. Not Charlie. Definitely Mackay.
Possibly. Well, I'll go Mackay.
I'm going to say Wright just because it's an Essendon podcast and I feel like someone should, but probably Charlie Cameron. I'm going to go from Carlton.
Yep.
I'll go the other one.
Again, they're another team with two really tall marking forward options there in Mackay and Charlie Cameron. Like, really good players.
2 Coleman medalists.
Yeah.
Wooden Spoon?
Hawthorn I nearly think the length of Flemington Strait, but North Melbourne might be chasing them.
I'm happy to go with Hawks.
That's why this first game is so important for us.
Yes, big deal. Although it should be said that youthful exuberance, round one's the game you might be the best shot in. Not making excuses before it happens, but just making excuses before it happens.
Perfect.
And the question I like to include in this is the first coach to be sacked.
Or
resign, leave the club.
Yeah, you have to not be at the club. Yeah, good question. Well, I think Port Adelaide's coach, Ken Hinkley, will be. Port Adelaide got a horrible first 6 games. And he's in his last year, So and
Yep,
hasn't
so
signed
they'll
for
have
this.
nothing to.
So they've
lose
got
if-
Brisbane, Collingwood, Crows. That's a tough one because it's Crows. Sydney, Dogs, and then West Coast. Like
Jesus,
this,
yeah, rough.
like if there's say 1 and 5, and the finals are gone again like they were last year, they'll just go, well, what's the point?
At that point, yeah. Well, then they could same argument could be what's the point in sacking him?
Well, what's the point of keeping him if
Yeah,
you know?
I
at the end
agree.
of-
I
yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I think
you
I
might as
had
well just get another coach in and start the process.
I had Hinkley as well.
Yeah.
A few shouts for Adam Simpson, but again, I think West Coast have resigned to their fate.
I
If
think
they were going
West
to
Coast
sack
reception
Simpson, they would have already.
They're going to be rubbish, so he's going to be part of the rebuild. You'd think.
Yes, that seems to be the avenue they've gone. M.
One out there too would be if the Suns, which they just looked horrible in the preseason, and look, again, it's just preseason. I don't know if they finished in that bottom 4 or 5 again.
I don't reckon Stewie G will get sacked because he signed a 2-year deal.
It's funny. I was thinking about the Suns day. Like Peter Wright left them. He couldn't get a game with them, and as now won a best and fairest here and kicked 50 goals in the second year, 35 goals in his first year.
Yep.
The other one that couldn't get a game with them is Will. What's his name? Is it Fremantle? Will.
Yeah, I know who you mean.
Oh, he played midfield there all year last year, and like had 30 touches. Like was really good.
Will Brody.
Will Brody, and he played.
Google that.
2 or 3 or 4 games the year before, and 2 or 3 games the year before that. And I'm thinking, why is it when the 2 players are leaving, like they're not getting games and go for other clubs, just look like absolute guns?
Good,
like,
yeah. I think they've sorted a bit of that out now. They would have been a bit mad to lose Rankin.
Yeah, Rankin. He's looked like he's gonna be a good player too.
But,
but I mean, my point about those 2 guys is they weren't even playing them. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
Like Wright didn't get a game in his last year, and he came to us and kicked 35 in the first year, 50 in his second. So you'd have to 100. Ask why. And they went and got that Carlton reject to fill in his spot, really.
Who has been okay, Kaz Bolton.
Of course he has, but you had a 25-year-old version.
Chol, yeah.
And Chol's been great. Chol's a good pick because he's a young kid still.
Yeah. I think that's all for the biggest flop. Who's gonna fall away dramatically, and we're all going to be sitting there going, "Geez, they're a bit shit." Okay, I can't.
I also think I'm really concerned about Richmond, but it could be just a preseason thing. But
you can't really do it.
I don't know. It's their game is built on pressure and pressure around the contest, and if that's off by a bit, or teams are just all of a sudden like get outside them, they run over them. And I just thought that Melbourne, Brisbane, and Dogs looked really quick and really skillful. Again, preseason, don't know. Yeah. Some teams aren't trying 100% and all that sort of stuff, but they're good teams. There's no doubts about that. They've all been in prelims and grand finals.
On the back of that, should Richmond be, I don't know what their start of their season looks like, if they're 3-7 after 10?
3 wins, 7 losses, or 3?
Yeah. Is Dimmer in that conversation for first coach? Is he, is he safe? Is he untouchable for now?
Well, I don't.
You'd have to think
he's
safe.
I don't think he's safe because he's sold it, and you'd have to agree that if I'm a Richmond supporter, you've been sold that they're going to be good again this year.
100%.
Because I've got in Taranto and Hopper, and I've kept Rewalt, and I've kept, a lot of these guys that you could have said, oh, well, let's maybe go a different direction, get our draft picks and move forward. I mean, you would have still gone Taranto. He's only 24 or 5, something like that, I guess, and he's a good player to have in any club.
And they didn't pay much for him, which still...
No. Him and Hopper can be really good players, so that's fine. But, Cochin and Rewalt and a few others, that hung around thinking that this year was meant to be successful. If they're not, as you're saying, then, yeah. I don't know if they'd sack him on that, but...
I don't think so either. I was just being a bit devil's advocate.
No. Great question, though. I think they'd be very disappointed.
You know who I really hope fall off?
I
mean, this is full of malice. St Kilda.
It's full of malice, yes.
Just Ross Lyon. No.
Oh, yeah. Don't
100% him. Not anything to do with the rest of the football club. Him, specifically.
Yep. The other one, too, I'd throw out that I'm really interested in this year is Collingwood, because
I reckon
they had a lot of wins by a kick last year. That might not go this way or that way this year, and that they're still a good side. Got some good players, but anyway, I think they could be someone that might drop off.
I think they overachieved last year for sure.
I think they did, and I think probably Collingwood supporters certainly would agree with that. But I think that
I still think
came
they're
from
finals.
bottom 4 into top 4, so they could be middle of the road this year.
I don't reckon they're top 4. I reckon they're top 8 still, but yeah, maybe not top 4.
Yep.
As long as we beat a Anzac Day and they don't win the flag, I don't really give a shit. Same with Carlton. As long as we beat them and they don't win the flag, I don't care.
Again, they're another interesting team. One game, well, 1 point off the 8. Will they be better this year?
What worries me if I'm a Carlton supporter, which thank Christ I'm not, is the fact that last year they had such a soft draw and they still missed out. This year they're not going to have a soft draw. Yeah, they'll probably improve.
They'll probably win a few extra games too.
But I don't know I don't have confidence that they will, because last year was their year to do it, because they had such a nice, easy draw. Not easy draw, but one of the easier draws.
One of these, yep.
And they didn't do it. So
I think to the other one, back to Collingwood, I wonder how if Grundy plays in a grand final this year and possibly even wins one, and they've paid him for that year, I reckon as a Collingwood supporter, like,
it's a slap in the face, isn't it?
Stuffed up their pay so poorly that they've had to get rid of guys. And look, they've still haven't had success, but they haven't been horrible last year, so it's working for them at the moment. But it's not what you want in the club. And apparently, I've read that Carlton might be be in a little bit of trouble too. They might have overpaid some players, and now their salary cap might be getting a little tight. So there could be some guys, because I think Mackay might be coming up for. He might sign.
Mackay.
It's the North Melbourne one that's coming up.
Both signed mega deals.
The North Melbourne one's coming up this year, I think.
I think he re-signed last year too, to be honest.
I don't reckon I thought I heard something. Anyway.
Yeah, Carlton can go and get stuffed. Collingwood can go and get stuffed. Ginnivan will be interesting how he comes back, given his issues. I don't care, just as long as he doesn't play Anzac Day. I can't do that again.
Well, I don't care if he plays Anzac Day, as long as he doesn't kick freaking 4 goals and
run through him here.
Kelly plays on him and looks like a dick.
Still gives me nightmares.
Oh.
All right, we probably need to wrap up. We've been going on for an hour and a quarter.
If you just want to turn off now, guys, we'll just keep talking amongst ourselves.
Yeah, we'll have a conversation. I never see the man anymore. We never talk.
Yeah, no, our work times do not overlap at the moment.
Don't at all. Any final thoughts in terms of forecasting for 2023?
No. I mean, I look. Was it the 16th? This is round 1 Thursday.
Yeah, our game's the Sunday, the 19th.
Yep. So I'll be watching. I'll be watching all the games. I'll be looking forward to watching footy again. I miss it. I like footy. That's why I watch preseason games and replays from last year. I watched the last. Yeah. So a few weeks ago, I started watching the replays of the Essendon games from last year.
I don't know how you do it. I chucked on AFL on YouTube, put a top 10 Essendon moment or top 15 Essendon moments of 2022. And like the first 5 highlights were nothing. Like they were like just general play goals. I'm like, oh, Jesus, this isn't good. But then you forget that it ended with the goal of the year. So that got me up and about.
Yeah. Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm interested to see how he goes this year. I've read some stats that his numbers are moving towards like a goal. He's in that 4th year. He's...
Yeah.
He's a number 1 ruckman. He's got a lot of responsibility, so be interesting.
I need to grow a mullet in honor of the man.
Don't be that guy. You're not that guy.
I'll leave it to the cool guys.
You have to be kind of half tough.
Well, both Sams at the Essendon Football Club have mullets, so I think it's only...
Yeah, but they're both hard units.
By the time I grow a mullet, they'll probably both be dead, but, you know.
No, that's you with a beard, I would have thought.
Hey, I shaved it. It was better. Was a lot better. All right, we're waffling. For the plan for this year will be just reviews again.
Well, unless we start winning.
Yeah, well...
that's what broke us last time, didn't it? We couldn't deal with talking about losses every week.
Previews are hard. It's pretty much the same stuff every week. If we kick more points, we'll win. So... reviews on a Monday night.
They say that in the before game. Look, guys, just kick more points and we'll win.
Give 110%, win the midfield battle and kick more goals. Good.
Stop them kicking and you guys kick goals. Boom, goals.
Remarkably
win.
Simple game. So yeah, we'll stick to the reviews. Sorry for now. Monday night reviews, and obviously, unless it's Santa.
We might do a few cheeky things in between.
Yeah, if there's a need, we'll jump on.
If we have to sack our coach by round 10.
We'll have a crisis meeting by round 5.
Oh, Parrish has already traded out at mid-season draft.
Don't even. All right, go Dons, and we'll see you after we beat Hawthorn in round 1.
Go Bombers!